What's up, guys? My name's Dustin. I go by Limestone Picker here on YouTube. Today, we're going to be going over my Sony PSP collection. Okay, so to start off, the Sony PSP came out when I was in the 4th or 5th grade. I remember when I was in the 5th grade, my birthday was always right after school started, and all my friends had a PSP, and I wanted one really bad. So for my birthday, my mom bought me one, and it was always one of my favorite consoles as a kid.
Is there anything I can do?
If he's busy with your PSP, I'm sure his lady friend could use someone to talk to. You know what I'm saying? Step your game up. Marcus, PSP.
PlayStation.
So I don't have my childhood PSP, but I do have the model that I had. I've got it in the original PSP case here. It is the 1000 model. It does work. I don't know if it's charged. It's not charged. I haven't used it in a while. I don't think anything's in it, but this thing works. I actually, I did used to play it a bunch, like recently, not recently, but like a year or two ago, I was playing it a lot. But the first thing that I ever got for the PSP, my mom told me I could get one thing with it, and I picked The Longest Yard.
He broke in my nose.
Let me see it. We can fix this.
How's it look?
Straighter, more distinguished, kind of like a young Michael Jackson.
I love little Michael.
It was the newest Adam Sandler movie that came out, and I've always been a big Adam Sandler fan. She's the main reason for that. But this came out, and I really wanted to watch it, so this is what I got. I watched this movie over and over and over again on my PSP. I had a really bad habit as a kid of staying up really late at night, so my parents would make me turn off my TV, but they forgot to take the PSP. After that, I don't really remember what order I got any of these, but I do remember which ones I had as a kid and which ones I've just added as I've found them. But as far as my childhood collection goes, I had some sports games. I remember having NBA Live 06. I actually got this at Gamers Paradise for $5. This was one that I had, so I had to get it for the collection. I remember my dad, he would take it to work and play it when he was on lunch. He would play NBA Live 06. The next sports game that I had was Madden 07. This would have been one of the very first games that I had. My best friend, Matthew, he had a PSP also, and we would trade stuff in and out. I think he had a copy of this, and then he had NCAA 07, and we would trade those in and out with each other. Probably my favorite game on the Sony PSP is Thug 2 Remix. Played a lot of this. I didn't get very far. Like, I never really was that big of a gamer. I just liked playing them. I never got far in story mode, but I loved like just skating around on this game. And this was one that I definitely had to get once I started collecting for the PSP again. After that, I remember my grandma took me to EB Games in the mall. For some reason, we had a GameStop and an EB Games in our mall. I remember getting some of my GameCube games from the EB Games there, but I remember picking this up specifically, Death Jr. I had no idea what this was. I just thought that it looked cool, and I was like, well, I want that. And it was the special edition. This is the exact same artwork and everything that I had as a kid, not my original copy. I don't really remember much about the gameplay, probably because I didn't get that far into it, as I did with most games. But yeah, I mean, this was one that I remembered and I had to get. There's only a couple that I don't have for my childhood collection. NFL Street 3 and NCAA 07 are the only two that I can think of. Most of them I've remembered. Next up, I think my grandma got me this for Christmas that year that I got the PSP. It's the video game for Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Again, did not get very far in this game, but played a lot of it. I remember playing a lot of it as a kid. Didn't get very far, but I played it a bunch. Then, one of the last games that I got for PSP, if it wasn't the last, my grandpa took me to Kmart, and I really wanted a NASCAR game for the PSP. They didn't have one that I could find. There may have been one released, but it was, at that time, even hard to find, if there was. So I had to settle for Cars Greatest Hits. I don't even know that I actually played. I probably put it in one time and didn't like it. But it was in my childhood. It was the Greatest Hits collection game also. So this is exactly what I had when I was a kid. So I had to get it. Next up is the rest of the movies that I had for the PSP as a kid. And as you can tell behind me, DVDs, movies, like, they've always been a big part of my life, way more than video games. I've always liked video games, but I've never been like a huge gamer. I just have attachments to games that I enjoy. I don't really care to try new ones, so, you know. But as far as the movies for the PSP that I had as a kid, I'm not going to go in any specific order. I could probably tell you where I got them from. Pretty sure I got this one brand new when it came out. Robots. This was a really good movie. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember watching it a lot. And I can pretty much remember, like, what it's about, like, at this exact moment. So I remember it being a pretty good movie. Next up, I'm pretty sure I got this one brand new from Walmart. I think my grandma bought it for me. Herbie Fully Loaded. This is a good movie. Lindsay Lohan and Michael Keaton. Matt Dillon is in this movie. A lot of these movies I never watched on DVD. I strictly watched them on PSP. So, I mean, like, I have, of course, now. But, like, as a kid, this was the first and only way that I was viewing these movies. Next up, I remember trading a bunch of stuff into GameStop and picking this one up. Man of the House with Tommy Lee Jones. It's a good movie. I wasn't sure if it would be, but it was. I really liked this movie. I haven't seen it since probably the last time that I watched it was on Sony PSP. So it's one that I had to pick up for the collection. The next one, I wore this one out. I love this movie. Still to this day love this movie. I watch it probably at least like 2 or 3 times a year. But it is Napoleon Dynamite. And I found this for 95 cents at McKay's bookstore. Just a great movie. I love this movie. A bunch of people hate it. I love it. Another one that I remember picking up at GameStop for my trade-in credit. I traded my GameCube in for a bunch of that. I remember exactly Matt's copy of NCAA 07. I was almost certain we traded, and he said it was mine. I traded it to GameStop over the summer and came back to school, and he was mad that I traded it. So, but I got the Dark Crystal on PSP. The Labyrinth was always an okay movie to me. My mom always liked it. And I knew that Jim Henson did both of them. So I was like, well, I'll see if my mom knows this movie. And it was cheap. It was probably like $2 or $3 when I got it. As you can see, I paid $13 for it. But I got it, and she was like, oh, yeah, I love that movie too. And I think she watched it on my PSP. But the next one, this was one of the first movies that I had as a kid. I remember this coming out, and then it coming out on TV, and I was like, oh, I've already seen it because I have it for my PSP. But it is Family Guy presents Stewie Griffin, The Untold Story. This was a great episode. It was when I was really big into Family Guy because I was like 12. it's still okay, but when I was 12, I loved Family Guy. And this was a great one. I love this. The last one from my childhood collection, this one I'm pretty sure was probably one of the last things that I got for PSP when I was a kid. I remember it being at GameStop. Me and my grandpa, we went up there and traded some of my stuff in as per usual. And I had never seen this movie, but I wanted to. What better way to get it than on PSP? I got it was included with some PSPs, Superbad, and I love this movie. I wasn't sure that I would actually find this when I started looking for this stuff. I remembered it, but like not vividly. And me and my parents, we were in Nashville, Tennessee, at McKay's bookstore, and they had this for 95 cents. And I picked it up. I had this exact copy. I didn't have it in the big case. I had it in this like, it was probably in a bundle deal with the PSP. And I love this movie. It's a great movie. Moving on are the PSP stuff that I've just kept as I found it at thrift stores, or if I thought that it was cool. First of all, I've got some loose ones I actually found at a thrift store. It was just a PSP case. It had 3 things inside of it. It had a copy of Napoleon Dynamite, which I upgraded to the one you just saw a minute ago. But we got a copy of Lords of Dogtown, which is also an amazing movie. That's the only reason that I kept it. Lords of Dogtown's a great movie. Anyways, next up we've got Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, the movie. I never had this on PSP. That my grandma always bought the DVDs as they came out, so had no reason to get it on PSP. But Tony Hawk Project 8, this game, I had it as a kid, but it was on Xbox 360. That was how I played it. I'm pretty sure I was like well past the PS. My PSP was probably broken by the time this game came out. And yeah, this was a fun game. Didn't get very far in it, as with most games. The first game I ever beat was Grand Theft Auto 5, if that tells you anything. Next up we have, I think the rest of these are either music or they're videos. This one is South Park, When Technology Attacks. I'm pretty sure, yeah, so this one has the episode where Kenny gets the PSP, and he gets the golden PSP in heaven, and he has to fight all the demons. But that's the reason I kept this. It's one of my favorite episodes. That one and Make Love Not Warcraft. Those are my 2 favorite episodes of South Park ever. Next up, we've got SpongeBob, Volume 1, the first season. I got this at Salvation Army for $8. I saw it, all their games were $8. And I saw it, and I was like, man, why is it $8? I went ahead and bought it. I figure, you know, if it's on eBay, it's going to be at least $6, just assuming. I got out to the truck and looked it up, and it goes for about $17, or at the time that I bought it, it did. So this was probably the best buy in the whole bin they had of games, and I got it for $8. So we have that. Next up is some music. I've got Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. Pink Floyd is one of my grandpa's favorite bands. And this was, it was at a game store. They had this one and the next one. Metallica, the Black Album. This was one of my favorite albums as a kid. Enter Sandman used to put me to sleep as a child, and that's very weird because I was a very scared child. So I still don't understand why that is what put me to sleep, but I would beg my mother to put that on so that I could fall asleep. It worked too. Next up, I got this for $2 at McKay's. It is Nirvana Nevermind. I've never actually put these in, but it looks like they have some like behind the scenes stuff and probably some music videos, and you can listen to the album. I have no idea. I've never tried them out. Maybe we will one day. Next up, we have The Labyrinth. Like I said, this is one of my mom's favorite movies, and I had The Dark Crystal. I think until I found The Dark Crystal, I had this as like a placeholder because it was just another Jim Henson movie. And yeah, but this is in my expanded PSP collection. Next up, I got this at a thrift store for $3, Daddy Daycare. This was one of my favorite movies when I was a kid. Didn't have it on PSP, but you know, found it for $3, and I figured, you know, let's get it. We'll have it in case we ever want to watch it on the PSP. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. The Benchwarmers. I've never seen it on PSP. Will I? Probably. They're going to take it off Netflix at the end of September, and I'm pretty upset because I fall asleep to this movie right now. But this is one of my favorite movies of all time. I can watch it over and over and over again. It is a great movie. I highly recommend it if you have not seen it.
Maybe I'll see you guys around sometime.
It was a pleasure to meet you all. Easy, Mel.
I have yet to perfect the peel out.
It was
No.
Yeah, it was
cool.
Bad.
Chicks were checking you out.
Try not to destroy me completely, Mel.
Next up, another Adam Sandler movie. We have 50 First Dates. This is a good movie. I like it. I can watch it. It's just not like that rewatchable for me. It's definitely a good movie, but I don't know. I've seen him and Drew Barrymore in too many movies. Next up, I'm pretty sure this is probably one of the first movies that came out on PSP because I remember it being promoted a bunch, but it is Guess Who with Bernie Mac and Ashton Kutcher and Zoe Saldana. That's who that is. Yeah. But I remember watching this as a kid, just not on the PSP. I don't even think that I have it like in my... Yeah, I don't even have it in my DVD collection. I just have it on PSP. So if we want to watch it, that's how we got to watch it. Next up, we have Viva La Bam. This was one of my favorite TV shows as a kid. If I would have known that this was on PSP, I definitely would have had it. Because 5th grade was prime Viva La Bam time for me. I can't believe I did not know that this was on PSP, but I found it at a local game store for $4. Then we have some sealed stuff. So, I think that, yeah, so I found this at McKay's for $4. That's my, like, that's in my childhood collection, but I went to another game store. This was like the copy that I had in the collection for a while. It's sealed. I got this for $10, and the open copy was like $8. So I got the sealed copy for $10. And I mean, it's probably not worth anything, but I kept it just in case because I did spend $10 on it. Then from Goodwill, we have a sealed copy of Charlie's Angels, the first movie. Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, and Lucy Liu. I got this for $3, like I said, at Goodwill. And it was just sealed, so I kept it. I don't know. But yeah, that was a long video. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had a little fun along the way. I hope that you learned a little bit more about me. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out. And I will see you next time.